Are you a history nerd? Does the power and supremacy of Mother Nature fascinate you too? If the answer is yes, then you need to watch this video till the very end. It's no secret that our planet is subject to different kinds of natural disasters quite frequently. These disasters don't only result in the loss of lives, but also livelihoods. Humanity has witnessed many such disasters that led to millions of deaths and financial losses amounting to billions of dollars. These violent natural calamities include earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, hurricanes, wildfires, droughts, and disease epidemics. And while we have gotten much stronger and technologically advanced, there's not much we can do to evade the wrath of nature. In today's video, we'll take a closer look at 10 of the worst natural disasters faced by humanity in recent history. So hold tight, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Number 10. Antioch Earthquake 526 AD. Let's begin with one of the oldest and severely catastrophic earthquakes recorded in all of human history. This massive earthquake took Syria by surprise in May 526 AD. Historians often label it the second most devastating earthquake of human history, and for the right reason. This 7.0 magnitude earthquake had a Mercalli intensity scale rating of 9, which means it's one of the most violent earthquakes ever recorded. Within minutes, this quake destroyed the ancient city of Antioch, causing irreversible damage to the infrastructure. The earthquake also caused a large-scale fire to consume the city. It burned for more than a week, and by the time it died down, the entire city was just rubble, ashes, and dead bodies. Because the city had a large number of visitors and tourists pouring in for Ascension Day celebrations, the death toll was pretty high. According to scholars, some 300,000 people perished from this earthquake and the subsequent fire. It was a great misfortune of this city that it was located in a geologically unstable area, which is now part of a more modern-day Turkey. No wonder this area has faced so many earthquakes in the past 2,000 years.
But before we get into it, you know what to do, guys. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our new videos that you will find interesting, we know for sure. Now let's get back to it.
Number 9. Mount Tambora Eruption 1815. Volcanic eruptions don't occur as frequently as other natural disasters, but when they do, the consequences are pretty grim. One such explosion rattled the Sumbawa Island on the 10th of April 1831. This island is part of modern-day Indonesia. The Tambora Mountain is around 13,000 feet high active volcano. Although the most violent eruption from this volcano occurred on the 10th of April, the smaller phreatic eruptions and intensified steaming continued for the next 3 years. The 12 cubic miles of evaporative gases, rocks, and debris blasted through the island's atmosphere as the ash and lava poured down the mountain and destroyed the grasslands and forests. While this eruption immediately killed around 11,000 of the island residents, the long-term effects of this explosion are said to have caused food shortages in the region, leading to an additional 100,000 casualties. Not to mention the after effects of this violent eruption impacted the entire global population. The ash from this explosion was dispersed globally and resulted in lowering of the world temperature, especially in the northern hemisphere. This phenomenon then led to a much colder 1816, infamously known as the Year Without Summer. Number 8. The Great Irish Famine 1845 to 1852. If you thought a disease in humans was capable of causing mass destruction, wait till you hear about the disease in potatoes that resulted in a mass exodus from Ireland. The Great Irish Famine, also known as the Irish Potato Famine, was an 8-year-long period of mass starvation in Ireland, occurring between 1845 and 1852. The main reason for this famine was a disease called potato blight that infected the potato crop across Europe. However, Ireland suffered the most because of the country's dependency on potatoes as their staple food. A great factor in the popularity of potatoes was their year-long availability. That's why the blight outbreak led to depravity and starvation, which in turn caused around 1 million deaths from hunger and malnutrition in Ireland, especially in 1847 when the famine was at its peak. This disastrous famine prompted around 2.1 million people to migrate from the country. No wonder historians called it the Great Hunger. Number 7. Northern Chinese Drought and Famine, 1876 to 1879. An even more devastating famine struck northern China between the years 1876 to 1879. Regarded as the most lethal famine in the history of Imperial China, it began when drought engulfed the Yellow River Basin area in 1876. The situation was worsened by complete failure of rain in the coming year. The 5 provinces majorly affected by the famine were Shandong, Zili, Shanxi, Henan, and Jiangsu. Experts believe that the death toll of this famine can be anywhere between 9 and 13 million. Shanxi was the most affected province with 5.5 million deaths out of its total population of 15 million people. The British missionary Timothy Richards' famine diary stated that people were selling their children, their wives, and were forced to eat roots and leaves, while a few even resorted to cannibalism. Even the thought of it makes us shiver. Number 6. Kringa Cyclone, 1839. Meteorology defines a cyclone as any low-pressure area with inward spiraling winds. The Asian continent has been the victim of some of the worst cyclones in history. One of these violent cyclones struck the Kringa city in Andhra Pradesh, province of India, on the 25th of November, 1839. This horrifying cyclone destroyed the entire port city with its brutal 40-foot storm surge and murderous winds. Around 20,000 vessels were completely wrecked, and an estimated 300,000 people were killed. While the locals did try to rebuild the city, most of them fled, as after this incident, they started believing that Kringa was a cursed city. Number 5. Yangtze River Floods, 1931. On the 18th of August, 1931, China suffered what is often regarded as the worst natural disaster of the 20th century. The Yangtze River flowing through southern China flooded over a 500 square mile area. This flood resulted from the excessive rainfall received by the river basin area between April and August 1931. Around 4 million people lost their lives directly and indirectly as a result of this flood. Besides drowning and starvation, the subsequent disease outbreaks also contributed in raising the death toll to this extent. This disaster led to economic instability in the region as the price of necessary commodities rose, and people were forced to resort to extreme measures for obtaining food. Some started selling their children and even consuming human flesh. Number 4. Bola Cyclone, 1970. Regarded as the worst cyclone of recent history, the Bola cyclone caused unimaginable destruction in East Pakistan, modern-day Bangladesh. It was the aftermath of this cyclone and the half-hearted rehabilitation efforts of the Pakistani government that played a pivotal role in the separation of East Pakistan. While exact figures are not known, it is estimated that between 300,000 to 500,000 people were killed. It was reported by Pakistan radio that not a single person survived on the 13 islands near Chittagong. The financial losses were immense, and around 50 million people were displaced empty-handed. Number 3. Indian Ocean Earthquake and Tsunami, 2004. Coming to the more recent natural calamities, we have to mention the Boxing Day tsunami prompted by the earthquake originated in Sumatra, Indonesia. The magnitude of this earthquake was recorded between 9.1 and 9.3. Indonesia, Sri Lanka, India, and Thailand were most affected by this earthquake and tsunami. This was the 3rd greatest earthquake ever recorded, and its aftermath was as catastrophic as the immediate destruction. More than 200,000 people perished, and according to relief agencies, 1/3 of these were children. We hope no such disaster ever strikes our planet again. Number 2. Azad Kashmir, Pakistan earthquake, 2005. On the morning of the 8th of October 2005, the locals of Azad Kashmir, Pakistan, were woken up by the earth violently shaking beneath them. What they didn't know was that this 7.6 magnitude earthquake had wiped out entire cities in Pakistan, administered Kashmir within a few seconds. Muzaffarabad, Balakot, and Bag were the most affected cities. Around 100,000 people were killed, and another 138,000 were badly injured. With 3.5 million left homeless and the nation's infrastructure severely handicapped, the rescue and rehabilitation efforts were drastically slowed down. Because it was a working school day, around 19,000 children also perished in this incident. Not only that, the earthquake was so deadly, it caused a residential building called 𝗦𝗨𝗕𝗦𝗘 Towers to collapse, killing many of the residents in Islamabad. It nearly took a decade for the affected areas to recover from the devastation caused by this earthquake. Number 1. Haiti Earthquake 2010. Haiti fell victim to one of the worst earthquakes in recent history on the 12th of January 2010. This 7.0 magnitude earthquake affected around 3 million people, with an estimated 300,000 casualties, according to the Haitian government. The country's economy also suffered gravely, with financial losses amounting to up to $8 billion. The already struggling Caribbean country sought help from the world. Consequently, donations poured in from around the globe, but it still took the country some time to recover from the impact of this natural calamity. Unfortunately, this wasn't the last time Haiti had to suffer, as 11 years later, in August 2021, another earthquake of 7.2 magnitude rattled the country again. But thankfully, this time the death toll was much lower.
Well, that was it for this video. What did you guys think of our picks? Let us know in the comment section down below. We post the most amazing and interesting videos one could imagine. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our new videos.